Hello everyone, my name is Jules. Welcome to Africa Radio Freedom. I know I was off for almost 3 months now, but I'm back. I'm so sorry about that for you guys. And today I want to talk about Mali. So we're gonna come back to Mali because we did a video on Mali before. But today I'm going to bring you some updates about Mali. I'm here to talk to the people of America. I'm here to talk to Black people, African American, and I also here to talk to the U.S. officials, the Joe Biden administration, the military, the Congress. So if any of you get this message, get this video, please, if you know someone around you who is a military, who is a U.S. officials, who is a African American, send this video to him. So maybe the only way that you can do is sharing. Share the video, the maximum sharing of this video, because this video is very important for us living here in America to understand what is going on in Mali, what is going on in Burkina Faso, and what is going on in all that region of Sahel. Because if you don't get the whole picture of what is going on, your judgment is going to be biased because they're going to give you wrong information. They're going to give you the information that they need you to know. They're going to give you information that they want you to know, not the information that is real, not the information based on facts. So that is why I'm here, to balance the information that they give you about Mali, about Burkina Faso, about the region of Sahel. The first thing when you are analyzing the region of Sahel, all those countries, Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger, Cameroon, Nigeria, Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, the first thing that you must know is that the region of Sahel is in this instability, in this mess, because Libya was destroyed and Gaddafi was killed. Let me repeat this. NATO destroyed Libya and killed Gaddafi. When we talk about NATO, we talk about US, we talk about France, we talk about England, the British. Those three countries in 2011 killed Gaddafi and destroyed Libya. They pretended that he was about to, he has the intention to kill millions of his people if they did not intervene. Based on investigation, based on information that we have now, we know that that was wrong. Don't forget Hillary Clinton. At that time, who was the Secretary of State? His emails was breached, and we got the information that the reason that they gave in order to intervene in Libya were not the reason that were wrong. So that is where the mess in Libya, the mess in the Sahel started. They did that in 2011. I think it was in April or May, something like that. In 2011, here we are in 2023. That means 12 years ago, the problem, the mess is not fixed. The mess has never been resolved. That's why some analysis in Africa, some African researchers, some African analysts believe that the killing of Gaddafi, the destruction of Libya, was done in order to install the jihadists and the terrorists in Libya. Until now, they never have the intention. I mean, those people who destroy the NATO, they never have the intention to repair the fort, to repair Libya, to set up a real democracy. They never. So when you start by saying this, we, the people of America, we have to know that our country was involved, was part of the destruction of Libya. As a result, is part of the destruction of the Sahel and all those countries. France was part of the destruction of Libya, was part of the killing of Gaddafi. England was part of the destruction of Libya. And as a result, the destruction and the instability that is now in those countries, in Sahel, in Algeria, in Mali, in Burkina Faso, in Niger. So the killing of the people in those countries are your fault. The killings of those people in those countries are your fault, because you, by destroying Libya, by killing Gaddafi at that time, you opened the ammunitions. You gave the ammunitions and the weapons to the jihadists and terrorists to invade those countries. From 2011 to 2023, you refused to take action. You didn't take any actions to fix the problem, to fix Libya. Maybe Gaddafi was a dictator, but because he has an army, because he was a country, he couldn't allow jihadists and terrorists to be installed in Libya. He never allowed. So you kill him, you destroy Libya, and now we have a small group of terrorists in Libya. Each group is controlling his territories. Each group is controlling his territory. Each group is a master of his space. So you are responsible. You have 100%, let's say 200% responsible of what's happened in Libya and what is happening now in the Sahel region. You are 200%. After the destruction of Libya in 2011, jihadist terrorists, they started to move around in the countries around, to move into the countries around. They started going to finding space in Niger, in Burkina Faso, in Mali, in Nigeria with Boko Haram, in Cameroon, in Chad with Boko Haram. They make their way to fight those people, but they are still there. I'm talking the case of Mali. I'm taking the case of Mali today. The government in place in Mali at that time, they didn't have enough weapons. They didn't have, the army was the army of Mali at that time was not structured to combat jihadists and terrorists, to fight those terrorists, because those terrorists, they have high, they were most armed than the army. They have sophisticated weapons than the army. What did they do? They call on help. And the first country that they called on help was France. The first country that they called for help was France. Do you know what happened? This is what the president, the first letter that the president sent to the president of France, that the president of Mali sent to the president of France. He said, our army can fight on the ground. Our soldiers can fight on the ground. What we need right now, we need air strike. Army from the air. We are weak in the air. And we also need satellite information to get the position of the enemies on the ground. That's what he said in his first letter in 2012. 2012. The president, the authorities of France, they took that letter as an opportunity to settle a military base in Mali. So they used that opportunity to say, hey, this is an opportunity, man. We're going to settle an army base in Mali. The president of France at that time negotiate, say, hey, we're not going to bring only airstrike, we're going to bring troops on the ground too. And they asked the president of Mali at that time to rewrite the letter, introduce all those points. That's why in 2014, French army came settled in Kidal in Mali. They joined the Mali army. They started together fighting terrorists. Because when they came at that time, terrorists were controlling almost 80% of the Mali territories. Terrorists were almost everywhere. The only place that they couldn't control was the capital and the neighborhood. It was Bamako. When France, the French army joined Mali army, they together they started fighting terrorists. They fought terrorists. They gained territories every day, day by day, day by day, day by day, day by day. They gained some towns. They gained some cities that were controlled by terrorists. They gained many cities. But they gained Gao, they gained Tombouctou, In the northeast of Mali, there is a large city. There is a large city called Kidal. Kidal. Kaidar, or you could, or whatever. When the military of Mali wanted to go inside and fight those terrorists, and that Kidal was the terrorist main base. It was the main base when they wanted to enter to Kidal to fight the terrorists. France refused. France refused. The information I'm giving you, it comes from the Mali army, it comes from the prime minister, it comes from the president of Mali. So France refused and set up a division between the Kidal, controlled by the jihadists, controlled by the terrorists, and the regular army of Mali. Also, it was not only the French army who was present in Mali. We also have the UN military that they call the MINUSMA. We also have the European army there. In total, for almost 10 years. Almost 10 years. From that time, the terrorists started to gain back their territories that they lost when France and Mali joined together, fought them. But they started getting back all those territories. In 2019, 2021, the jihadists were controlling almost 75% of the country. Almost 75% of the country. They were attacking population almost everywhere. Even in Bamako, they were attacking the population, killing people, take their wealth, take the cattle, take the crops, take the farm for 8 years, almost 10 years. In 2021, there was a coup. The population were asking to join the army, but they didn't have enough weapons. They were not structured. The population started to protest against the mismanagement of the security problem in Mali by the present authority at that time. Along with that, there was corruption, and people did not have water, did not have hospital, did not have education. Everything was becoming more and more expensive. Population, when the whole population, for 3 months, they were protesting on the street. For 3 months. That's what they didn't tell you, that for 3 months people were on the street to protest against the regime because they wanted the regime change. That president, Ibrahim Keita, he asked the army to repress the population. The army say, no, we're not going to repress our population. It is their right to protest. That's how they make the first coup. They remove the president. And because the international community, France, USA, England, everybody was saying, no, we are against those coups. We are against the coup d'etat happening in Mali. Make sure that you came back very quickly to constitutional situation. We don't need a military as a president. That's how they choose among the former minister of the former regime. They choose a prime minister. They choose a president as a civilian. They choose some civilian as a president and another civilian as prime minister. For 3 months, the situation did not change. For 3 months, the situation did not change. 3 months, the situation did not change. Also, all the information, all the strategies that the military and the president was doing, all those strategies was sent to France. All those strategies were sent to France to get France approval before implementing it on the ground. When the military noticed that this was happening, they make a second coup in August. They remove the civilian president, they removed the civilian prime minister, and took over the country. The 5 colonels. That's what happened. And the population was happy. People were happy. People were happy with this regime change. So that is what happened. And they noticed that after many analysis, they noticed that if the situation doesn't change, it is because we have a wrong ally. We don't have the right ally. That's why they went to Russia. That's why they turned on to Russia. They asked Russia to come help. When Russia came in, and they start to supply the military with heavy weapons, with airstrike, with aviation, with satellite information, things started to change on the ground. In 6 months after the new alliance came in, they went from 75% of the territory lost to 35% of the territory lost, only in 6 months. Only in 6 months. That is what is called sovereignty. Your sovereignty means your freedom to make a strategic choice for your own people. The freedom to make the strategic alliances for the good of your people, for the good of you, of the country. That's called sovereignty. Then also notice that the presence of France, of the French army in their territory was damageable for them, was undermine their actions, because the information that they has, every time they share information with French military, the jihadis are going to get the same information. The terrorists are going to get the same information. That's why they ask French military to leave the country. They also asked German army to leave the country. And they also said the MINUSMA, the UN military that is on the soil, they have to be under the command of the military, of the army. It is not normal. Is it normal that here in the US, you have a foreign military that doesn't ask any permission to you to do any action in the country? Is it? Put yourself in their shoes. So that is what they did. And now they're controlling 80%, 80 to 85% of the country, of the territory. They agree to hold elections next year. But they say, we're going to hold elections next year, not before we gain the 100% of the territory. So the security of the people should come first. Election can wait. Election can wait. I agree 100% with that. The safety of the people comes first. As a leader, you are not a leader because you show your muscles everywhere. You are a leader because you take responsible actions. Now, the Mali military is way more well equipped than many countries in Africa. It is now the third well-equipped military in Africa, the third or the fourth. Anyway, it's among the five more equipped military in Africa, because he has airstrike, he has more sophisticated weapons, he has satellite information from his allies, and that is what he wanted to fight. He wanted to fight jihadists, to fight terrorists. And now they start fighting terrorists. US came with the relief, say, oh, you have to respect human rights. I agree that you have to respect human rights. But when those people, when those enemies are killing people, they're not respecting human rights. You have nothing to teach African countries about human rights. You are not in the position to teach African countries about human rights, because you don't know, you know nothing about human rights. You know nothing about human rights. So respect people's freedom. Respect people's freedom. Respect people's freedom. Respect people's sovereignty. And by the way, when they were suffering for almost 10 years, where were you? Where were you, United States, to help them to get rid of jihadists and terrorists? You were looking away, because they were trying to wash out the mess that you put in Libya, the consequences of the mess of Libya that you participated to destroy. And let me tell you one thing. Africa is not a cage slaves. Africa is not a cage of slaves. African countries are not cages of slaves. No. African people are smart. They are intelligent. If you want to help Africa, help them get rid of dictators. There are dictators there's a dictator in Cameroon who has been ruling the country for 41 years. There is a dictator in Cote d'Ivoire. Many African countries, like those speaking French, they are monarchy. So after the dad pass away, they're gonna put the son in Gabon, in Chad, in Togo, and now they're preparing in Cameroon, in Congo. But you accepted it. There are many opposition party people, members in prison. You refuse to condemn. You never condemn that. Thank you very much, guys. See you next time.